Today I'm going to show you guys how to make some very simple sound effects. So if you're just getting into sound design, this should be a perfect video for you to start with some real basic stuff, but it'll give you the fundamentals to grow. So first of all, let's open up a modular, and we can start off by making a very basic subtractive synthesizer, which is just an oscillator. So go to the generator, waveform generator, and then we can add a filter right here. We can use a state variable filter, which will give us both low pass, high pass, and band pass. We're going to have an envelope right here. Just use a dadzer, and we are going to use an oscilloscope so we can see what's going on. So hook in the note CV into the note of your oscillator. From the out, it's going to go into the input of the filter, so it filters this noise. And then we're going to use a band pass to go out. But if we hook this up, it's just going to give us a tone. There we go. I have my MIDI keyboard hooked up, so it must have been on a really low note. That's why it didn't do anything, so I had to kind of push a higher note. But we need to have the envelope into the modulation port of the oscillator. Now it won't do that. So now we have a very basic subtractive synthesizer. But I'm going to get rid of this because I have my MIDI keyboard hooked up. So first of all, we're going to start off with making just pretty much the most basic sound, which is like a laser as far as like FX goes. Very simple to make, and we can do this without using the use of an LFO. We're going to introduce that here in a little bit, but for right now, we're going to use just basic parameters of our subtractive synthesizer to create a laser effect. So to do this, we need to go to a sawtooth, and we need to manipulate these parameters on here so it's a very short note. So let's take the sustain and bring it all the way down, and bring the decay to about right here. Notice how it doesn't really quite sound like the laser right now. That's because we need to hook this up to the pitch. So if we take the pitch, hook it into here, still doesn't do anything. That's because we need to move this from the center. So let's bring this all the way up. Now we got a real basic, like laser sound. Lower you go, the more kind of lo-fi, almost Space Invader you get. Kind of like Atari 2600. Or even Nintendo. So we can also take the release on here, which is it holds on to the note. It's not quite an echo, but it acts as kind of like a big reverb, and it just kind of holds onto the note. So you can mess around with that. So that's how you create just that basic laser sound. Now you can also create like a riser or a fall, if you will, by messing with right here. You can bring the pitch down to it. Whoops. Bring this up to here. So now there's the riser. And the lower you kind of go, it takes longer. That's weird. It sounded like it created some aliasing with that. Weird. Okay, so anyways, you could do that or do the opposite way. More Space Invader stuff. So you can also create like a water drop sound. You can take this and bring it down to a sine wave right here, and we can make sure that the pitch is all the way down, And if we use like a higher key. Actually, let's make sure the decay is down. You guys hear that? Yeah, I think a C6 is best. Get that water sound, like a water drop. I guess that's a bit too much. Yeah, so anyways, just little things like that. So now let's introduce the LFO. Let's get rid of this, and let's just put the LFO right here. It's under Generator, Mini LFO. Now we're going to recreate that laser sound using the LFO so we don't have to mess with this. So let's take the parameters back to where it was. You can turn it all back to factory just by double-clicking right here. And then now we are going to unhook this and bring the 0 to 1 output of the LFO to the pitch. Bring the pitch all the way up. So if we play it, kind of sounds like a siren a little bit. If you turn the rate up, it just makes it faster. So let's take it to about right here. Now, watch what happens when we take this and bring it to a sawtooth. Not quite here yet. That's because we need to bring it back to the sawtooth. Now you can also add, what's it called? Bring the release up. Gives it that delay effect. Like you had a, like you hit, yeah, like you put an echo or a delay on it. So that can be quite fun. So now we are going to also, how I mentioned before, it said, oh, it kind of sounds like a siren. We are going to recreate that. So to be able to do this, we are going to take, so siren would be a sine wave right here, and we can bring this to triangle. And if we bring the rate's too high right now, so we need something a little bit slower. Let's just bring it down and see what happens. So let's get rid of that release. So you can see that it kind of sounds like it, but it's missing something. And to be able to fix this, we can introduce a lag processor. So to do this, let's go, let's just go right here. Yeah, okay. Miscellaneous lag processor right here. Now, what a lag processor does is it limits the rate which a signal can either increase or decrease. And we can use that to manipulate the sound. So to be able to plug this in, we need to take the note off, and it needs to go into the lag processor first, and then out back to the note. So now we can manipulate how fast this is going to work. So all the way up here, this means it's not going to be working. But if we take this down here, it's going to start working. Now, with the lag processor, if you keep hitting the same button over and over, it's not going to be working. It'll work the first time, but not after that. So I'll just use the keyboard to show the difference. So let's just go and hit like a C5. See, it's just kind of the same thing. But if we go down and hit like a C3, now watch what happens with the C5. Gives it that warp, So instead of it going all the way fast, let's do that again. See how fast it happened? It didn't do it. But if we tap C3, go up here and we drop this down again, now watch. But to be able to, that's a bit too much, so I think around maybe right here would be good. And we can always just change the rate. This is actually going to work better if we put it to a triangle right here. Oops, turn the rate down on it. Now watch. So that's more of a siren sound. So with this, we're finally going to end it with by making a telephone. Now we can create a very, it's a decent sounding telephone with just this things, but you can tell that's just off a little bit. So if we take this to a square wave, and we also bring the LFO to square wave, and we bring this up to about right here, it sounds like a telephone, right? But it's just not quite there. So let's make a really good telephone. So to do this, we need to introduce another oscillator, which is going to be a pulse generator. Now, a pulse generator is a square wave, but the duty cycles manipulate in here. So if did I plug the thing? I didn't even plug this in, man, the whole time. Wasn't even using it. I apologize. But we could see kind of... Oh, wait, that's not even plugged in. Well, here's what it looks like right now. I need to quit doing that. With this, you can... this is zoomed out all the way. And this is zoomed in. So it's kind of hard to see it because it's so fast. Now we can plug this in, but we need to introduce some mixers. So let's just do, it doesn't matter, 6. We're going to add one more small mixer. So I'm going to unplug this, and I'm going to unplug this. So here we are, still just leave all this stuff plugged in. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to plug the pulse generator into here, and we're going to plug that to right there, just so you guys can look to see what the signal looks like. Now, do you guys understand what the pulse width does? It changes the duty cycle, which is the space in between the high parts and the low parts. Okay, so we're done with that. Now, let's plug this in properly. Okay, so this is going to go into there, and the out is going to be put into this, into the second mixer. Now we are going to take the out of this and put it into the pitch, and we're going to take the LFO and take this into the modulation of right here. Now I'm going to go from the out to here into the input, and then we're going to use a bandpass right here. So if I hit a note right now, it's going to sound not very good. See, I keep hitting that. I always mix up this for the other thing. So let's bring this rate a little bit down. Still sounds pretty bad, right? So watch what happens when I start taking down the octaves of this and bring this up. So we're going to bring this one up to here. Still sounds pretty bad, right? But watch what happens when we start bringing the octave down on this one. Now we got ourselves a beautiful telephone. Let's bring the semis all the way down. Beautiful telephone. And we can play around with the lag processor. If you didn't think that sounds good enough right there, you can See, it kind of just warps it a little bit. So I think actually you don't really need a lag processor, but since it was already plugged in, you know, like whatever. But it does give that teeny tiny warp if you want to go from somewhere low to high. Because some phones do have that little bit of warp before the thing goes. Maybe not that much, maybe a little bit higher. Yeah, it gives it a little whoop, you know, right before it rings. Old school telephone. So anyways, I hope you guys like this video. If you didn't like it, please give it a thumbs down. If you want more, let me know in the comments. Or don't. It's up to you. Free will is a beautiful thing. Peace.